Imagine this scenario: for years, you've heard doctors, health magazines, and even television shows repeat the same message: avocado is one of nature's most powerful foods, a true green medicine capable of caring for the heart, brain, and even skin. Many seniors have adopted it almost as a daily ritual, at breakfast, as an afternoon snack, blended into smoothies, or mashed on toast. The promise was clear: more energy, more longevity, more vitality. But is this superfood reputation entirely true? Could the celebrated avocado hide dangerous pitfalls for those over 60? This is the crux of the matter. Yes, avocados contain valuable nutrients, beneficial fats, fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins. But, as with every hero story, there's also a flip side, that detail no one mentions. Incorrect, excessive, or poorly combined consumption can turn a health ally into a silent saboteur of well-being. This is even more serious for those who are aging because the body no longer responds in the same way. Metabolism slows, nutrient absorption changes, and certain organs, such as the liver, kidneys, and heart, become more sensitive to excess. And it's precisely at this stage of life that some common mistakes with avocados can be very costly. Scientific research shows that older adults who maintain a balanced and varied diet have a lower risk of chronic diseases and live longer. However, studies also reveal that many foods considered miracle can pose risks if consumed without moderation or due regard for individual context. Avocado is one of these. It's not poisonous, far from it, but it can become a trap when we believe the false idea that the more, the better. That's where the danger lies. Have you ever stopped to consider that, instead of protecting your heart, it could be overloading it? That, instead of aiding digestion, it could be hindering your stomach's work? Or even that, instead of strengthening your bones, it could be disrupting the absorption of essential nutrients? These questions may sound shocking, but they're the key to understanding the 13 dangerous mistakes many older adults make without realizing it. Throughout this content, we'll reveal each of these misconceptions, always in a clear, direct, and practical way. You'll discover why eating avocado every day can be a trap, how certain combinations harm your body, and what warning signs can't be ignored. Prepare to see avocado in a new light, not as an absolute villain, but as a food that requires intelligence, balance, and care. If this topic piqued your curiosity and you value content that reveals hidden truths to protect your health, like it now. This way, you're supporting our work and ensuring that more people over 60 also discover these details before it's too late. When we talk about avocados, the first image that comes to mind is of a healthy food, packed with healthy fats that are good for the heart. But there's one detail that almost no one mentions: they're extremely high in calories. Half a medium avocado has about 160 to 200 calories, mostly from fat. Now imagine this: an elderly person, believing they're making a perfect choice, eats an entire avocado a day. It sounds healthy, but in practice, this is equivalent to almost an entire meal in terms of calories, without them even realizing it. This is where the trap begins. Unlike in our 20s or 30s, when our metabolism burned energy at a rapid pace, after 60, this internal engine slows down. The body begins to use fewer calories for the same basic functions. This means that any excess food, even something considered healthy, is easily accumulated as body fat. The result? Silent weight gain, a growing belly, strain on joints, and a higher risk of developing insulin resistance. And it's not just a matter of aesthetics. Excess weight in older adults is directly linked to an increased risk of type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular problems. For many, this connection isn't clear. After all, if the food is healthy, how could it be harmful? It's precisely this false sense of security that opens the door to mistakes. Eating an entire avocado can be as problematic as overdoing it on fried foods, because ultimately, the body doesn't recognize the source of excess calories, it simply stores them. A practical example helps illustrate this. Consider Maria, 67, who started adding avocado blended with milk and sugar to her breakfast every day. She believed it was strengthening her heart and improving her digestion. Within a few months, she noticed her clothes no longer fit as well, her blood pressure rose, and her doctor warned her about prediabetes. What seemed like a smart choice turned out to be an invisible mistake, precisely because she overdid it. Of course, this isn't about demonizing avocados. The secret is in the portion. A thin slice, equivalent to 2 tablespoons, provides fiber, good fats, and satiety without overloading the body.
The problem arises when consuming large quantities becomes a daily routine without adjusting the rest of the diet. The body, already slower, can't cope. And here's an important reflection. How many other foods do you consume believing they don't make you gain weight just because they're healthy? This is the same trap that happens with nuts, olive oil, or cheese. Everything has value, but the key is balance. Interestingly, what many people overlook is that it's not just the calorie intake that's a concern. There's another subtle effect of too much avocado that can pose a threat to your heart, and this detail may surprise you. When we hear that avocados are rich in good fats, we immediately picture a protective shield for the heart. Monounsaturated fats, in fact, help reduce bad cholesterol and increase good cholesterol. This is one of the reasons avocados have gained worldwide fame as a superfood. But there's a detail many overlook. Even what's good can become harmful when consumed without moderation. The fats in avocados are healthy, but they're still fats. And the body of someone over 60 doesn't process them the same way it did in youth. The liver, for example, can experience reduced function with age, making it difficult to metabolize large amounts of lipids. This means that too much avocado can contribute to an increasingly common problem, hepatic steatosis, popularly known as fatty liver disease. Often silent, it's only noticed when it's already in an advanced stage, causing inflammation and increasing the risk of serious complications. Furthermore, excessive avocado consumption can have a paradoxical effect. Instead of reducing cholesterol, it can actually upset the fat balance. This happens because the body needs adequate proportions of various types of fat, saturated, unsaturated, and polyunsaturated. When there's too much of a single source, metabolic balance becomes disrupted. For the heart, this scenario can be as harmful as a diet high in fried foods. Imagine the case of Antonio, 72, who decided to replace butter and margarine with large quantities of avocado. Initially, his cholesterol levels improved, but after a few months, the effect reversed. His triglycerides soared, he gained weight, and he needed to start taking medication. What seemed like a perfect choice became a real problem. This is the kind of trap many older adults fall into, believing that, because it's natural, a food can be consumed without limits. But the aging body demands balance, not excess. Even what's classified as good needs to be in harmony with the rest of the diet. What's more, when the liver becomes overloaded with fat, other systems suffer as well. Digestion slows, the absorption of essential nutrients decreases, and in some cases, there's an increase in silent inflammation in the body. This state of chronic inflammation is one of the biggest culprits of aging, accelerating the deterioration of joints, blood vessels, and even memory. Therefore, the message is clear. Avocados shouldn't be banned, but neither should they be seen as a free pass. Quantity matters, and for those with a history of high cholesterol, hypertension, or fatty liver, extra caution is needed. But if excess fat can already be a problem, there is an even more dangerous mistake, one that happens not because of excess, but because of the combination of avocado with something that should protect your health, medications. Many older adults live with a routine characterized by daily pills, medications to control blood pressure, anticoagulants to prevent clots, statins for cholesterol, and diabetes medications. This reality is part of aging, and there's no harm in using these remedies when properly guided by a doctor. The greatest risk arises when seemingly harmless foods, like avocados, enter the equation without due care. Few people know this, but avocados can interact with medications in worrying ways. The first critical point involves anticoagulants, such as warfarin. Avocados contain vitamin K, which is involved in the blood clotting process. Ingesting large amounts of this vitamin can neutralize or reduce the effect of medication, increasing the risk of dangerous clots, which can lead to heart attacks or strokes. Sounds exaggerated? It's not. There are already medical reports of patients experiencing unexpected variations in their coagulation tests precisely because they consumed too much avocado. Another important issue is interactions with hypertension medications. Avocados, due to their high potassium content, can further increase blood potassium levels when combined with potassium-sparing diuretics, such as spironolactone. The result? An imbalance called hyperkalemia, which can cause dangerous cardiac arrhythmias. For those who already have a sensitive heart, this can become a veritable minefield. And there's a third, rarely discussed scenario.
Some compounds in avocados can influence the action of cholesterol-lowering medications. Studies suggest that excessive consumption can alter liver enzymes that metabolize these medications, making the treatment less effective. It's as if the effort to take the medication is being sabotaged in the kitchen, without the patient even suspecting. To illustrate, imagine Lucia, 69. After including avocado in her dinner every day, she noticed that her doctor's appointments began to bring warnings, her blood pressure fluctuated, her blood tests showed thicker results, and the doctor couldn't understand why the results didn't match her medication. It was only after a detailed discussion about her diet that it was discovered that avocado, in excess, was at the heart of the confusion. This is an essential warning. The problem isn't eating avocados in a balanced way, but believing that quantity doesn't matter. For those who depend on medication, balance becomes a safety issue. And here's a practical tip: if you take blood thinners, blood pressure medication, or any ongoing treatment, never change your avocado intake without talking to your doctor. Small changes can make a big difference in results. But even for those not taking medication, there's another hidden pitfall in avocado consumption. It starts long before you put the food in your mouth, when you're choosing and storing it. And this mistake can turn a healthy food into a risk of silent poisoning. Many people believe that simply adding an avocado to their shopping cart is enough to guarantee health. But what almost no one realizes is that mistakes can start at the supermarket. Avocados are a sensitive, highly perishable fruit, and when not selected or stored correctly, they can become a real enemy to your health, especially for those over 60 and with weakened immune systems. The smooth, green skin can be deceiving. Inside, the avocado may be full of dark spots, signs of oxidation, or even colonized by fungi invisible to the naked eye. Fungal contamination in poorly preserved fruits releases substances called mycotoxins, which can cause inflammation in the liver and intestines, as well as increasing the risk of food poisoning. In the elderly, these effects are potentially dangerous, as episodes of diarrhea or vomiting can lead to rapid dehydration, mineral loss, and frailty. Another common mistake at home: leaving an open avocado in the refrigerator without protection. When the flesh comes into direct contact with air, it oxidizes quickly. That brown color isn't just an aesthetic problem, it indicates a loss of nutrients and a buildup of substances that irritate the digestive system. Many people think they can simply remove the dark part and eat the rest, but the oxidation spreads in invisible layers. And it doesn't stop there. Storing avocados near fruits that release a lot of ethylene, such as apples and bananas, can accelerate ripening uncontrollably. In a short time, the fruit goes from ideal to a state of internal decay. Consuming a fermented or flavorless avocado is a gateway to digestive discomfort, nausea, and opportunistic infections. The good news is that there are simple precautions. When choosing, press lightly on the skin. If it gives gently, it's ripe. If it's too hard, let it ripen outside the refrigerator. If it's too soft, there's a risk of spoilage. Once cut, it's best to consume immediately or store the pulp in a sealed container with a few drops of lemon to slow oxidation. These simple precautions prevent a food rich in benefits from becoming a trigger for serious problems. But there's an even more intriguing detail: even when avocados are fresh and well stored, consuming them can have undesirable effects on the digestive system of many elderly people. Symptoms like heartburn, reflux, and intestinal discomfort are more common than you might think and may be related to the high fat content of this fruit. Avocados are often associated with good digestion. After all, they contain fiber that helps the intestines function better. However, the effect isn't always so positive, especially for those over 60. The truth is that, despite their reputation as a light food, avocados can be a heavy meal for many older adults. The reason is their composition. Although natural, they contain a high amount of fat. And what does this mean in practice? For the body to digest fats, it needs to produce bile in the liver and release it into the gallbladder, as well as activate pancreatic enzymes. This process occurs relatively efficiently in younger people. But with aging, both enzyme production and gallbladder capacity can decrease. The result is an overloaded stomach, which takes longer to empty and causes a feeling of heaviness after eating. It's precisely at this point that many older adults begin to notice symptoms such as heartburn, reflux, and gas. Small portions may be well tolerated, but when the amount increases, discomfort becomes inevitable. Reflux deserves special attention. The acidic liquid that returns from the stomach to the esophagus is not only uncomfortable, but in the long term, it can inflame the mucosa and even cause lesions. A clear example is Jose, 71. He loved making avocado smoothies for dinner, believing he was nourishing his body for better sleep. But he began waking up at night with a burning chest and a dry cough. Only after medical advice did he discover that avocado, consumed excessively at night, was the cause of the problem. By reducing the amount and changing the timing of consumption, his symptoms subsided. It's important to emphasize that this isn't about demonizing food, but about recognizing the signals your body gives you. Digestion after 60 requires extra care. Concentrated fats, even good ones, can irritate a more sensitive digestive system. Adjusting the timing, quantity, and even preparation method can make all the difference. And if you think swapping avocado oil for avocado oil will avoid these problems, be careful. The liquid version may seem more practical, but it hides even bigger pitfalls when used incorrectly. With the growth of the functional food industry, avocado oil has gained shelf space as a premium alternative to olive oil. Flashy labels promise incredible benefits, lowering cholesterol, improving heart health, strengthening joints, and rejuvenating skin. For many seniors, it seems like the perfect solution: easy to use, concentrated, and, above all, natural. But the reality is more complex than the hype suggests. The first problem is adulteration. Several studies have shown that a significant portion of vegetable oils sold on the market contain blends with other, cheaper oils, such as soybean or canola, which reduces quality and negates the promised benefits. For the consumer, this means paying a high price for a product that may be inferior or even harmful, as some oxidized oils promote silent inflammation in the body. Furthermore, even pure avocado oil requires caution. Because it's high in calories and fat, excessive consumption can lead to the same problems we discussed with the fruit itself: weight gain, liver overload, and increased digestive discomfort. Many older adults, believing they're adopting a protective habit, end up adding generous spoonfuls of oil to their meals, without considering that each spoonful contains almost 120 concentrated calories. Another critical point is the marketing hype surrounding avocado oil's stability at high temperatures. It's true that it can withstand higher heat than olive oil, but that doesn't mean fried foods are healthier just because they're made with this oil. Excessive heat generates toxic substances in any fat, regardless of its origin. Imagine Teresa, 68, who switched from olive oil to avocado oil, believing she was modernizing her kitchen. Within a few months, she noticed weight gain, frequent heartburn, and, to her surprise, her cholesterol levels didn't improve. What seemed like a superior choice ultimately revealed that there's no miracle oil, but rather the need for moderation and quality. The message is simple: avocado oil can be an ally, as long as it's used in small quantities, preferably raw, and from trusted brands. But turning it into the star of the kitchen opens the door to imbalances. And here I want to hear from you: have you tried avocado oil? Have you noticed any difference in your body or in your tests? Share your experience in the comments. Your story can help many people in our community make more informed decisions. Among avocado nutrients, vitamin K often receives less attention than its good fats or fiber. However, this detail can make a huge difference in the health of those over 60. Vitamin K plays an essential role. It directly participates in blood clotting, helping the body stop bleeding. So far, it seems like a positive thing. The problem arises when this nutrient interacts with medications that millions of seniors take daily. People taking blood thinners, such as warfarin, depend on a fine balance in their blood, neither too thin nor too thick. It's like balancing an extremely delicate scale. Excessive vitamin K intake can weight one side of the scale, neutralizing part of the medication's effect. The result? The risk of dangerous clots, which can cause heart attacks or strokes, silently increases. For those dependent on these medications, small dietary changes can have major consequences. And here's the catch: avocado consumption isn't usually considered a problem in traditional medical practices, precisely because it's not as rich in vitamin K as dark leafy vegetables like kale or spinach. But when the fruit is consumed in large quantities or on a daily basis, the amount can become significant, altering coagulation test results without the patient even realizing it. Another little discussed aspect is that vitamin K isn't just for clotting. It also plays an important role in bone health, helping to bind calcium to bones. For older adults, this is vital in combating osteoporosis. So the dilemma arises: how to reap the benefits of vitamin K without taking risks? The answer lies in balance and personalization. A real-life example helps illustrate. Imagine Paulo, 73, who has been taking blood thinners for years. After including avocado at breakfast almost every day, his tests began showing unexpected variations. His doctor reviewed his medication dosage several times until discovering that his diet had changed. By adjusting his avocado intake to 2 or 3 times a week, the problem was resolved. Paulo continued to enjoy the benefits of the fruit without compromising the safety of his treatment. This story shows how every detail matters. It's not necessary to eliminate avocado, but it's important to understand that it should be consumed within a dietary context, respecting each person's condition. Talking to your doctor before making dietary changes is essential, especially when taking ongoing medication. And if even vitamin K requires caution, imagine when we believe avocados are an inexhaustible source of energy. Many seniors fall for this idea and end up transforming what should be vitality into exhaustion. Avocados are often called natural fuel. And indeed, their combination of healthy fats, fiber, and minerals provides consistent energy, unlike the sudden spikes and dips caused by simple sugars. That's why many older adults adopt the habit of eating avocados, believing they'll be more energetic for the day's tasks. But here's the contradiction: for many people over 60, this fuel can become a burden that drains vitality rather than strengthening it. This happens because fat digestion requires prolonged effort from the body. The stomach takes longer to process food, the liver and gallbladder have to work hard, and the pancreas releases extra enzymes to help break down molecules. When all this occurs in a young body, the metabolism can handle it. But with aging, when these functions are no longer as efficient, the result can be different: fatigue, drowsiness after meals, and even difficulty concentrating. It's like filling up an old car with too much fuel. Instead of gaining speed, it stalls. This is the effect many older adults report without realizing the connection with avocado. They feel their energy drop soon after consuming it, especially when consumed in large quantities or at night. A clear example helps to visualize. Imagine Marta, 70, who started making avocado cream for dinner to sleep nourished. Instead of deep rest, she began waking up in the middle of the night with a burning chest and a dry cough. By reducing the portion and preferring to eat it during the day, she noticed improvements in sleep and energy. Small adjustments can make a big difference. This drowsiness and digestive heaviness can even impact physical activity. Elderly people who believe they are boosting their energy before a walk or stretching class end up feeling unwell and experiencing reduced performance. In other words, what seemed like a strengthening strategy ends up sabotaging their very quest for vitality. It's important to emphasize, the energy provided by avocado is real, but it needs to be in harmony with each body's digestive capacity. Moderate portions, appropriate timing, and light combinations with other foods are key to transforming this energy into an ally, not an enemy. But if even energy can turn to exhaustion, there's an even lesser-known impact: avocado's effect on bone health. Few people realize that this fruit, so closely associated with nutrition, can influence calcium absorption and, therefore, skeletal strength. When we think of bone health, the first nutrient that comes to mind is calcium. It's the raw material that strengthens bones and teeth, essential for preventing osteoporosis and fractures, conditions that are especially concerning for those over 60. But what few people realize is that the balance between calcium and other minerals is as important as the quantity. And here avocado comes in unexpectedly. It's a significant source of magnesium, an essential mineral, but in excess, it can interfere with calcium's absorption in bones. Magnesium has valuable functions, participating in muscle contraction, nervous balance, and even blood pressure control. However, when intake is disproportionate, it can compete with calcium for intestinal absorption. It's as if there's a competition for space, and the result is less calcium being utilized by the body. For older adults, this means an increased risk of fragile bones, even if they regularly consume milk, cheese, or calcium supplements. This is a silent mistake because no one imagines that a healthy food like avocado could interfere with the absorption of another vital nutrient. The problem worsens when consumed daily and in large quantities, reducing dietary diversity. The body no longer receives the balanced combination of minerals from different foods and becomes dependent on a single, dominant source. Consider Roberto, 74. He always prided himself on never having broken a bone, even after minor falls. But when he adopted the daily avocado trend, believing it would protect his heart, he began showing accelerated bone loss in his tests. His doctor realized that, despite supplementing with calcium, his body's levels were inadequate. The excess magnesium in avocados was indirectly hindering absorption. This type of imbalance highlights the importance of variety. Bone health depends on an orchestra of nutrients: calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin K, and protein. When one of them dominates in excess, the symphony loses harmony. And aging is unforgiving. With each decade, bones tend to lose density, making falls and fractures increasingly dangerous. Therefore, it's not enough to view avocados solely as a source of good fats. They can also influence less obvious areas of health, such as the skeleton. Understanding this detail helps maintain not only vitality but also autonomy. After all, strong bones mean greater freedom of movement and quality of life. But among all the mistakes we've discussed so far, there's still one that could be considered the most dangerous. It's the habit of making avocado a mandatory part of your plate, every day, as if it were irreplaceable. This excess, disguised as health, paves the way for much greater imbalances. There's a concept that's often repeated in the world of nutrition: variety is the key to health. And this is even truer after age 60. The body needs different nutrients, from a variety of sources, to maintain balance and vitality. Therefore, making a single food a daily habit can be so harmful, even if that food is considered healthy. In the case of avocados, this trap is more common than it seems. Many older adults, enchanted by the touted benefits, develop the habit of eating avocados every morning, believing they're doing the best for their hearts and longevity. But in practice, this reduces dietary diversity, impoverishes the gut microbiota, and increases the risk of nutritional deficiencies. The gut functions like an ecosystem. It needs different fibers, different types of starch, and diverse bioactive compounds. When the diet focuses on a single food, even a rich one, this ecosystem weakens. And there's another problem: eating monotony reduces long-term adherence. The pleasure of eating is linked to the variety of flavors, colors, and textures. When the same dish is repeated every day, we tend to lose motivation and, in many cases, compensate with less healthy choices at other times. Thus, what began as an attempt at self-care can end up paving the way for slip-ups. Imagine Irene, 69. She decided to replace bread and butter with a generous slice of avocado every day for breakfast. For the first few months, she was proud of her discipline. But soon the side effects began: constipation, lack of energy, and tests showing iron deficiency. The excess avocado consumption reduced her intake of other important foods, such as fruits rich in vitamin C, which would aid iron absorption. This example shows how insisting on the same food every day can gradually weaken the body. It's not just a matter of calories, fat, or excess magnesium. It's the loss of diversity, the impoverishment of the plate, and the consequent deterioration of the body. The solution lies in balance: consuming avocado 2 to 3 times a week, in moderate portions and always in combination with other protective foods. This allows you to reap its benefits without sacrificing the variety essential for longevity. And now we come to the most important point of this journey: if avocado can pose risks when used incorrectly, how can we transform it into a true ally for vitality after 60? In the next step, we'll bring together everything we've learned and show you how to use this food wisely and safely. After everything we've seen, it's clear that avocados aren't an absolute villain, but neither are they the flawless superhero many imagine. They can be a powerful ally for your health after 60, as long as they're used wisely. The secret lies in avoiding the mistakes we've discussed, turning knowledge into practice. The first key is moderation. Instead of large portions, opt for small amounts. 2 tablespoons are enough to provide good fats, fiber, and satiety. This simple change protects you from excess calories, prevents liver overload, and keeps digestion smoother. The second is variety. Don't let avocados crowd out other equally important foods. Alternate with fruits rich in vitamin C, such as oranges and acerola cherries, which strengthen the immune system, lean protein sources that help preserve muscle mass, and colorful vegetables that nourish the gut microbiota and balance nutrient absorption. The third is to pay attention to your individual situation. If you take ongoing medications, especially blood thinners or high blood pressure medications, talk to your doctor before increasing your avocado consumption. This simple step can prevent dangerous interactions and maintain the effectiveness of your treatment. And let's not forget practical precautions. Choose your fruit wisely, avoid eating spoiled or oxidized avocados, store them correctly, and choose fresh avocados without added sugar. These often overlooked details make all the difference in food safety. Now, the most important thing, use avocado as part of a broader healthy aging strategy. It's not a magic solution, but it can be an ally within a lifestyle that includes a good diet, regular physical activity, adequate hydration, and quality sleep. It's this combination that protects the body's natural defenses and prolongs vitality. Remember, healthy aging isn't about following fads or superfoods, but about making conscious choices, respecting your body's signals. Avocado can be part of this journey, as long as it's a balanced supporting role, not the absolute protagonist. If this content helped you see avocados in a new light and rethink your habits, subscribe to the channel now. This way, you'll gain access to more practical, science-based guidance to protect your health, strengthen your body, and live your next years with energy and autonomy. Because true wisdom isn't about eliminating or idolizing foods, but about finding the right balance. And that's what leads to full longevity.